Hello, welcome back to another Sunday School Bible class. I'm so glad you're here. Today we are on a lesson entitled Jesus Feeds the Huge Crowd and Speaks of His Church. One day, among all the crowds of people who came or were brought to Jesus to be healed, there was a man who was possessed with a demon that made him both blind and dumb. That means that not only could he not see, but he also could not speak. Jesus cast out the evil spirit, and the man immediately was able to see and speak. This truly was a great miracle because the man was free from this terrible, debilitating condition and could now live and enjoy life like everyone else. Surely this was cause for rejoicing and praising God. But when the religious leaders heard it, they said that Jesus was possessed with the prince of the devils. Jesus then warned the crowd that anyone who continues to disbelieve that Jesus was the Son of God after seeing all of these miracles that he performed will never be forgiven. One day there was a crowd of over 5,000 people following Jesus, and it was getting late in the afternoon. Jesus asked the Apostle Philip where they could buy food for all these people. Philip commented to Jesus that they did not have anywhere near the amount of money it would take to buy food for all these people. Then the Apostle Andrew said that there was a boy there with 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But he asked Jesus, what was that to so many people? Jesus told the apostles to make the people sit down in the grass in groups of 50. Then Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes and prayed, giving thanks and blessed the food. Jesus told the apostles to give the food to the people. The apostles obeyed and began passing out the food, the little food they had. Because the people were sitting down in groups of 50, there was order, and the 5,000 people did not all get up and run to the basket of food trying to grab a piece of food, but the apostles brought each group some food in a basket and had them pass it around to their group. And as each person took a piece of food, more food appeared in the basket for that group. The food was multiplying. Eventually, the entire crowd of over 5,000 people all ate till they were full. When the people finished eating, Jesus told the apostles to gather up the leftovers so that no food would be wasted. When they obeyed Jesus, they filled 12 baskets full of leftover food. When all the people realized what had happened, they believed Jesus was a prophet. Now the people wanted to make Jesus a king. Jesus knew that this was not God's plan for him, so Jesus sent the apostles to the ship to go ahead of him to the town of Capernaum, while he sent the multitudes away. Then Jesus went up to a mountain alone to pray during the night. Meanwhile, the apostles were in the boat on the sea, and a storm developed. As the apostles tried to row the ship to shore, the waves and winds were so strong that they could not get the boat to shore. They were in the middle of the sea, in a storm, at night in the dark, with no way of getting to safety, and this time Jesus was not with them. Suddenly, to make matters worse, they saw something walking on the water toward them. They got so scared they yelled because they thought it was a ghost. But it was not a ghost. It was Jesus walking on the water. Jesus knew that they were scared, so he called out to them and told them not to be afraid because it was him. Peter called out to Jesus and said, "Lord, if it is you, call me to come to you." Jesus said to Peter, "Come." Peter then stepped out of the ship in the middle of the lake and began walking on the water looking toward Jesus. Then Peter took his eyes off of Jesus and looked at the storm and the waves and became afraid and began to sink. He immediately cried out to Jesus and said, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said, O ye of little faith, why did you doubt? When they came into the ship, the wind stopped, and the ship immediately was at the land. Then all the apostles were amazed and worshipped Jesus, saying, Of a truth you are the Son of God. Now the next day all the people came looking for Jesus. When Jesus saw them, he told them that they were only looking for him because of the food he gave them. Then he told them, Don't work for food, which is only temporary. In other words, don't work so hard just to take care of your physical bodies, to keep them well fed, but work hard for the food that shall give you eternal life. The food that gives eternal life was Jesus' words. Time and time again, Jesus told people that his words were like spiritual food, and if people believed his words, they would have eternal life. So when Jesus told the people to work hard for the food that gives eternal life, he was telling them to try very hard to always come and hear Jesus. By faithfully coming to church and Sunday school, you are obeying Jesus because you are working hard to hear his words. One day Jesus took his disciples alone with him and traveled to a far city named Caesarea Philippi. He asked them a question. Who do people say that I am? They told him that some say you're John the Baptist, some say you're Elijah, and others say you're Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Then Jesus asked them and said, Who do you say that I am? Simon said, You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus said to him, Blessed are you, Simon, for no man taught you this, but my Father in heaven gave you this knowledge. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not win against my church. I give unto you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Jesus was telling Peter that he gave Peter the authority to set up and lead Jesus' church. In our future lessons, we will see how Peter will use this authority to tell all people not only the story of Jesus, which is called the gospel, but how to respond to that story so that all people could go to heaven. In other words, Peter was going to give instructions for people to get to heaven. What he would preach at that time would be written down in the Bible so that after Peter died, all people in future generations, including us, would know what to do. From that time on, Jesus began to tell his disciples that he will go to Jerusalem and the religious leaders will arrest him and kill him, but that he will rise again the third day. Come back and see what happens. See you next time. Bye-bye.